How's it, guys? Billy from Laser Casting Pro 2024. I'm just going to do my admin right at the beginning. Please, if you don't mind, like, subscribe, share this channel and these videos. It'll help me to carry on helping you guys. Also, if you want to buy any machines or spares or anything, you can contact Carrot Stradum from CNC Professional Machines. I'll drop his details in the comments below. Right, let's get straight into it. So when we're trying to work out our cost per minute for our lasers, and you go and Google it or you speak to people, you'll get 150,000 different answers, and nobody can give you a decent answer to exactly why they got it. They'll tell you things like industry standard is X amount per minute or this or that, and every single guy's industry standard somehow is different, so it's certainly not an industry standard. There's certain costs. There's fixed costs and there's some labor costs and all kinds of things that have to be taken into account. In South Africa, electricity is a big thing for us. We've got software, we've got all kinds of things. Everything costs money. Right, so when we get into it, you'll click on Setup. It'll take you to this page over here. You'll see I've made everything null. So at the moment, I'm working for free at 0 rand a minute. We start at the top and we just follow all the white blocks that we can fill in. We're going to start populating. So we'll start with our laser machine. My machine costs 150,000 rand. I'll put that in there. My chiller is 15,000 rand. My compressor is about 3,000 rand. An extractor for a nice fancy one, 2,500 rand. And my rotary is 7,500 rand. Yeah, when it gets to the hours or the lifespan of the tube, there's lots of different claims on the internet, anything from 3,000 up to 10,000 hours for a tube. I like to work on nothing more than 10,000. If you want to be really honest with yourself, you'd rather put in 5,000 hours. Anything between 5 and 10,000 hours would give you about 3 years, depending on how long you're running your machine, how many hours a day, and how many days of the year. So I'm going to put in 7,500 hours. So there already it tells me that my rand per hour, just for the fixed cost to pay off my machine and be able to buy a new tube, is 23 rand 73. When we get into electricity, I decided that over there we're going to input the wattages of the machines. Then you don't have to do any complex calculations to try and work out how much rand electricity something uses. So I know from looking at my solar system that my laser doesn't use more than 1,000 watts. It's actually quite a bit less, 100 watt, but I'm going to put 1,000 watts in. I like round numbers. The chiller is the one that really sucks the power, as it's got a aircon unit on it. The compressor is actually about 200, 300 watts. I'm going to put in 500 watts. And the extractor as well, it's also about 250 watt, but I'm going to put in 500 watts. Somebody's got to pay for that machinery. Cost per unit, so that's your unit price per kilowatt of electricity. Once again, I don't like putting in 3 rand 96 or something ridiculous like that. We've got generators and solar systems and all kinds of things that we have to use to keep our businesses going. I charge 10 rand a unit of electricity. Then you'll see it comes to 35 rand an hour electricity costs. Right. When we get into the next part of it, it's software. Now you would think, well, why are you charging for software? Well, who pays for the Coral that you use to design your products for your customers? Who pays for Lightburn? Who pays for Windows? Who pays for Microsoft Office? You do, but you're doing work for customers. You're using Microsoft Office in order to give quotations and work out prices and do various other things. You're using CorelDRAW or Lightburn for your CorelDRAW for your designing. You might be using Lightburn to send the information to your laser. Everything runs on Windows. Unless you're using Linux, then I guess you can put a 0 there, but most of us are using Windows and it costs money. CorelDRAW, I'm going to put 15,000 a year. Lightburn 1,500. Windows 3,000 for a nice Windows Professional. Microsoft Office costs about 2,000 a year. There we've got our rand per hour for our software. Already over here you'll see that our cost per minute is only on 1 rand 34. Rental space. Once again, a lot of people say no, they don't charge rental space, they put the machine in their house. If you were running a business, you wouldn't be thinking that way. Me personally, I charge my machine 2,500 Rand for the room that it stands in. When we come out to our service and maintenance, over there you're going to have to go and have a look at your quotes and things for the guys who come and do your maintenance. It costs me about 3,000 Rand for a call out. They're about 300 kilometers away from me, and 5 Rand a kilometer. We've got a lot of maintenance that we do on and off, on and off. We replace bearings, we lube the machines, you clean the machine. There's a whole lot of costs involved there, and don't fool yourself into thinking that you shouldn't be charging for it. It is a cost. I budget 2,500 Rand for bearings and belts and spares. I also budget for 1,000 Rand for lubrication and various other little bits and pieces. And then degreaser and cleaning fluids and stuff like that, I'm going to put in 8,000 Rand. It just so happens that it puts me on 12,000 Rand for a year. If you think about it, maintenance on your machine, 1,000 Rand a month, is actually not bad. And you know, we should be spending that money to maintain our machines. Then your machine is going to last you 6 years or 10 years, where some people's machines are barely lasting 2 years because they don't keep them clean, they don't keep maintaining them, they don't lubricate them, etc., etc. You'll see over there now, it's only put us up at 1 Rand 53 a minute. One of the biggest costs that we have is our labor. Most of us have bought the machines so that we are able to sell our skills and our labor to people. So, we start with a setup fee. I prefer to work my setup fee into the price of my products. I don't like putting a setup fee on the quote, simply because when people see a setup fee, a lot of them freak out and they don't buy your product. Funny thing is, your product might be 500 Rand, they'll buy it happily. You give them the same product for 300 Rand with a 100 Rand setup fee, they're not willing to pay because they go, ooh, the thing's costing 400 and there's a 100 Rand setup fee. But they're more than willing to pay 500 Rand without a setup fee. It just blows my mind sometimes how people think, but I think you get my point. Let's say your setup fee is 100 Rand. People are charging anything from 50 to 250 in the industry. Labor per hour, this is if you've got somebody working for you, or if you're going to be paying, if you want to be paying yourself. I'm going to work on 150 Rand an hour, and that's just for like a basic techie. It's not a full-on graphics designer because they'd probably earn a lot more, but I'm going to put 150 Rand in is what I've got to make for my labor that I put in. And then I've added an extra row there for labor, extra profit. That's once again, if you're running a business and the setup fee and the labor per hour is paying for your people and your machinery, and then that would be what profit you as a business owner want to make on your labor. That puts us at 300 Rand an hour. Then the calibration and the steps is very important. I normally just leave it on 20 unless I physically go and change something. You'll have to go and look at your machine and look at your DPI or your number of steps per millimeter, and then put that in. A lot of people change their steps down to 10 so that they can engrave quicker. However, just be aware that if you do go and change the settings on your machine back to 20, you are going to run your job twice as long and you're only quoted for half of the job essentially. We shoot back up to our cost per minute and we'll see it's now on 6 Rand 53. So you can leave it at an odd number like that if you like. Once again, I like to work in round numbers, and I'll probably want to get that, round that off to 7 Rand. I'll just shoot down to my labor extra, and I'm just going to load it with some extra money in there. Went a bit too much. Should have calculated this before the time. And there I'm on 7 Rand and 3 cents, which is pretty fair. My opinion is that you definitely should not be charging anything less than 5 Rand a minute. I believe then you are doing yourself in, whether you are a hobbyist or a business owner. As a business owner, I believe that that number should be 7 Rand 50 upwards. It can be up to 25 Rand a minute. If you've got the clientele, then you can sell your time and your skills for a larger amount of money. Once again, it goes about how much you value yourself and how much you value your time and skills. I personally, in my business, I'm running at a lower cost per minute. My machine is 6 years old. I can't run it as fast as what a lot of you guys are running. You guys are running at 400 millimeters a second and stuff. I'm struggling to run 150, 200 millimeters a second. I have to replace belts and bearings and stuff that I just preached to you about. And when I get my machine up and running and get it running well, I'll definitely increase this to at least R7.50. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Hook me up in the comments if you need anything. And please, if you've got any queries or something like that, the best thing is to pop me a WhatsApp. And then we can organize a WhatsApp call and you can put your video on and you can show me your screen and I can have a look and help you. Thank you very much, guys. Cheers. Bye.